Hello everyone. Today I will explain how to register a GST and HST number if you are a non-resident for tax purposes. This information will be particularly useful for those who are on a work permit and wish to start and operate a business in Canada. To operate your business legally, you need a business number and a GST and HST number. Generally, you must register for GST and HST number if your total revenue exceeds $30,000. Okay, and even if you haven't registered after exceeding this threshold, you are still liable for the GST and HST amount as the Canada Revenue Agency will consider it collected. So there are two types of registration: mandatory registration and voluntary registration. Okay, so voluntary registration is if your revenue exceeds $30,000, you must register and start charging and collecting GST and HST from the date you actually exceed it or hit the $30,000 threshold. And voluntary registration is if your revenue is below $30,000, if you haven't exceeded $30,000 yet, you can still voluntarily register for a GST and HST number. But once registered, you are required to collect and report GST and HST on your sales regardless of your revenue. So this is voluntary registration. So here are there are some exceptions to these rules. For example, if you operate a taxi, ride-sharing services, or limousine, for example, Uber or Lyft, you must register for GST and HST regardless of your revenue. So if you start a ride-sharing business like Uber or Lyft, you need to register from the day you begin operations, from the day you actually started operating the ride-sharing business. Today, we will focus on registration process for non-resident businesses. So non-resident business means, as I mentioned earlier, if you are on a work permit or if you have your SIN number that starts with 9, then so you would use this option to register a business number and GST and HST account number. So you don't need to call CRA because they will not register it over the phone. So you need to register using the web form on the website. So I will walk through you to the page. So first, you would go on this page, canada.ca. Okay, go on the website, type here canada.ca, choose your preferred language. So I'm going to select here English. Okay, so on this page, the official website of Government of Canada, scroll down here, click taxes, and under taxes, click business number. Okay, and on this page, business number. So navigate to this section, click on how to register for a business number or CRA program account. Once here, scroll down until you find the section for non-resident business. Here, click on the link for non-resident web form. But before that, please note that the option above labeled business registration online is specifically for resident businesses. So make sure not to select that. So this one. Okay, so let's scroll down again here and click here on this link, register using the non-resident registration web form. Okay, so once you are on the non-resident web form, take a moment to review the terms and condition. Here are the terms and condition, and then click agree. Click on the agree button to proceed. Here, the first question you will encounter is whether you are a non-resident. If you are, select yes and click next. Okay, a non-resident registration typically applies if you are either on a work permit or if your social insurance number starts with 9, your SIN number starts with 9. Okay, so next the question is what best describes your role within the business? I'm a business owner, or you can choose the appropriate option from the list. So if you are registering for yourself as a as the business owner, so then you would choose this one. Or if you are registering on behalf of a family member or someone else, select I am a third party requester. Okay, but here, so I'm going to select I am a business owner. So enter your name here. So your first name. Okay, ABC. So your last name, let's say XYZ. So the title would be owner. So you're owner of the business. And so here, enter your phone number. Okay, so owner information. If you are here, if you have selected I'm owner of the business, if you're not registering it as a third-party requester, then you would select here same as requester contact information. So then information will automatically be populated here. Then if you want to enter, if you have your cell number, mobile number, fax number, and your social insurance number, you can provide all this information. So this is for sole proprietorship, for registration of GST and HST account for sole proprietorship. But if you are registering a business number for a partnership, if the type of entity is different, then for a partnership, you would add another partner. You can add another partner using this option, add another owner. But now we will click next because we are registering it for a sole proprietorship business. Let's click next. Business name. For sole proprietorship, the legal name of the business would be name of the owner. So you would enter your first name and your last name here. So this would be the legal name of the business. And operating name. So operating name, if you have registered operating name with the provincial authority, you can then provide the information here. If you haven't, just leave this blank. Operating name is, for example, sometimes the businesses, they registered a unique name for marketing purposes. For example, ABC Construction, XYZ Roofing, something like that. So you can, if you have registered a name, so then you would provide the information here. If not, just leave this blank. So ownership type is an individual because it's not a corporation, it's not a partnership. So we are just registering a business number and GST HST account for an individual or under our social insurance number. So that would be an individual. Operating type. So here, so select the appropriate option, which would be sole proprietor. So this is the same. For example, if we are registering a business number or a GST HST account number for ride sharing business for Uber and Lyft, so we would select sole proprietor here. Is the business incorporated? No. Once we select no, so these options are now not applicable. Preferred language of correspondence, English, and then here we will provide the email address. So the email address is, let's say, xyz@gmail.com. So we will check this option. We do not have any website, so we will leave this blank. Here we will provide the physical business location. So if you are registering it for a ride sharing business, you can provide your home address as the physical location of the business. So here, XYZ Street 249. So the city would be Calgary, Canada. So the province Alberta. And the postal code is so the mailing address is same as physical location. So we will check this option. So books and records address, if it is the same, you can choose this option. Otherwise, you can leave this blank. So business activity. So what is the main activity of the business? So we are registering it for a ride sharing business. So we will say it is a ride sharing services. We do not need to provide the breakdown of the product or services because it's a ride sharing business. Click next. So the next question is, do you already have a business number with the Canada Revenue Agency? If you already have registered a business number is a 9-digit number, you would say yes and provide the business number here. If no, if you haven't registered a business number, so you would choose no. Sometimes what happens when you register your business with the provincial authority, they create a business number for you. So make sure that because CRA provides only one business number per legal entity, if there's already a business number registered under your social insurance number, then they cannot create another business number. They will use the same business number. If you don't know the business number, if you have misplaced the business number, you can just say no. They will then check it for you. So another thing here is, okay, so the next section here, program account information. Which program account would you like to register a business for? Goods and services, GST and HST account. And then the next question is, if you select or to register a corporation account, RC account, or RZ account for partnership, so no, this one is not applicable. Are you registering for a CRA business number to further apply for another program account such as procurement business number, PBN, fuel charges? No. Are you applying for goods and services harmonized sales tax account for digital economy business? We will say no. So if you want more information about what is digital economy, so you can click on this question mark. There's this little blue circle. So it will provide you more information about digital economy business. Then click next. So the next question is question about your business for GST and HST purposes. So the first question is, do you provide or plan to provide property or services in Canada? So we will select yes, because for a ride sharing business, we are going to provide services in Canada. So we will say yes. Are all the property and services you sell provide exempt from the GST? In general, when you sell or provide only exempt property services, you cannot register for GST and HST account unless you are listed financial institution resident in Canada. So some of the services are GST and HST exempt. So some of these are education related or health related services. If you're providing services, and all services you provide are GST and HST exempt, so you may not need a GST and HST account because you will not be charging GST and HST. Okay, so in this case, we will say no because it's a ride sharing business, and for a ride sharing business, we will be charging GST and HST on the sales revenue. So the next question is total annual revenue. Are you carrying on a business in Canada and your total revenue from your worldwide taxable sales, including those of your associates, more than $30,000? So this question is whether the registration would be mandatory registration or voluntary registration. So if you have already exceeded $30,000, as I mentioned earlier, then we would need to determine the effective date of registration, because the date you actually exceeded $30,000, your GST and HST account will be then registered from that specific date, because from that date you were liable for the amount, for the GST and HST amount. Even if you haven't collected, you are still liable because you were required to register and charge collecting GST and HST. In this case, we will say no. This is obvious. This is a voluntary registration. If it is not a mandatory, then it's a voluntary registration. Type of businesses or supplier. Do you operate a taxi, commercial ride sharing, or limousine? So yeah, so commercial ride sharing, Uber, Lyft. So these are commercial ride sharing businesses. We will say yes. Are you an individual whose only activity is subject to the GST, HSTs from commercial rental income? So we will say no here. Commercial rental income means it says your only activity, your sole activity is subject to the GST, HSTs from commercial rental income. Commercial rental income means if you have a rental properties and you're earning income from the rental properties, then you would select yes. If not, then no. In our case, because we are registering it for ride sharing business, so we will choose no. Are you a non-resident who enters Canada to directly supply taxable admissions to a place of amusement, a seminar, an activity, or an event held in Canada? We will say no. Are you a selected financial institution? No, this is not a financial institution. We are not a financial institution. We just want to register a GST and HST for a ride sharing business for Uber. So we will say no here. Click next. Do you solicit business in Canada? So say no. Goods in Canada. So if you some of these questions are not applicable if you just want to register for a ride sharing business. So you don't need to provide this information. Inventory in Canada, services in Canada. Just scroll down at the bottom of the page here, and then bank account information in Canada. So you can provide this information. Do you have a bank account in Canada? We will say yes. Do you have an office or branch in Canada? We will leave this blank as well. So again, so the physical business address. So it's the same as business information. We will select this, and the system will automatically populate the information here. And the mailing address, we will select this option, same as physical business address. Preferred language of correspondence, English. Okay, so filing information, expected amount of sales in Canada for a 12-month period. So what would be your total annual revenue? So you may not know the exact amount, but you can provide here an estimated amount, a rough estimate. So let's assume your total revenue from the ride sharing business would be 60,000, and expected worldwide sales for a 12-month period. So if you have any sales or any income outside of Canada, you can enter that amount. If not, you can just enter zero. And here, the fiscal year end. So what would be the year end for your business? So for a sole proprietor, the year end would be December 31st. So your calendar year end would be your period end or your fiscal year end. Effective date of registration. So this is a very important question. If you are registering for a ride-sharing business, a GST and HST account for a ride-sharing business, so you need to enter the effective date of registration. So the effective date of registration would be the date you actually started operating the ride-sharing business. Okay, so let's say you have started operating ride-sharing business in 2023, and the month would be October 14. So this is the date you actually started operating the ride sharing business. Even if you haven't registered, you would still need to use this date because they will then register the account effective from this particular date. If you haven't started the ride sharing business, you need a GST and HST account number. You can use a future date as well. For example, if you are planning to start a ride sharing business, Uber or Lyft, in the next month or in the coming week, you can select that. You can enter that date here as well. So here, reporting period. So by default, the reporting period would be annual, but you can choose a different reporting period. For example, more frequent reporting period, monthly or quarterly. The but Yeah, so keep in mind that the reporting period will determine also the due date for filing your GST and HST return or remitting the amount to CRA. So if you are choosing annual and your period end here is December 31st, so and then the effective date of registration is October 14, 2023. So that means the first reporting period would be from the date of registration, which would be October 14, 2023 to December 31st, 2023. And so this period would be then already overdue. So if you are choosing quarterly reporting period, so then that means then so you would need to report CRA for each quarter. So let's select here annual and then click next. Okay, so here you can review the information. Okay, make sure all the information you provided are correct, and then you can submit the information. Here, let's scroll down. Okay, you can confirm and submit the information here to CRA. So you will not get your business and GST HST number right away here. So once you will submit your request to CRA, they will review the information and they will send you a confirmation letter in the mail or by email. Okay, and yeah, so the processing time, generally the processing time is 15 business days, but also it depends when they receive the information and when they process it. So you will get your number in the mail. If it is more than 15 business days and you do not receive any response, you may then want to call to CRA. So there is, you do not need to call to the, so here, you don't need to call to the the general business inquiry line of CRA. As I mentioned earlier, for non-resident businesses, HST and HST, there are designated tax centers. They are responsible for account maintenance and inquiry. So here, there is a phone number, a toll-free number provided. So you can, it's a mailing address. If you have any question, you can also request a callback by filling out this form. And then if you have any question regarding GST and HST for a non-resident, you can call on this number. I'm going to paste a link here in the comment section. Okay. So one more thing here. Okay, so this is one option to get your GST and HST number or a business number. But there is another option. If you scroll down here on this page, it says by mail or by fax. So you can fill out this form. This is a RC1 form, request for a business number. This is a PDF fillable and savable form. You can fill out the form and send it to the tax center, the designated tax center. And so this option is not available by phone. This option is not available for non-resident businesses. So either you would fill out the form or use the web form to register your business number. And as I said, that if you have any other question, you would call on the number that I have pasted here in the comment section here. Okay, so that is it for GST and HST registration. Please subscribe our channel. So I will then upload more videos regarding payment, how to make a payment to CRA, and also more about corporation income tax and other business related taxes. Please subscribe our channel. Thank you very much.